All right, so here we are. We're going to analyze a deal here, and this is going to be a 10 unit. We're going to actually stick in the Midwest and show you a 10 unit building and how we would pick it up online, bring down the information, put that information into the deal analyzer real quick, which is an Excel download. And the reason we do an Excel download, you guys, and why you probably need to learn Excel just a bit, okay, and this is kind of templated little simple pro forma that you can use for really anything from a duplex all the way up to about 50 units. It's ideal for, okay? The deal analyzers online are okay, but really you need to be able to manipulate and fool with some numbers and change some things to really tweak it and understand Excel from the basics. I'm going to show you using ours and then how you would do the exact same thing, okay? So analyzing a deal and how you do it, I'm going to pull up my computer and kind of mirror it here so we can walk through this process of taking a deal, analyzing it, and seeing if it makes sense, okay, based on the information that we're getting from the online portal. So let's go. Okay, here we go. We're going to be very tactical. I know that's not too exciting, but sometimes you got to get boring to understand this stuff all the way through, okay? So let's go ahead and find that deal. I actually did pre-look at it, so I'm going to show you the deal. This is actually one I was like, okay, it's unpriced. So they don't even have a price on it. So this is what I was telling you earlier. Sometimes they have a price on it. Sometimes it's unpriced, which means, hey, give us an offer. Let's see what happens. So you're going to go ahead and click on it. You're going to bring it up. This is going to give you some of the basic information. Obviously, you can go through some of the tabs like the due diligence. You can download the OM. I'm going to show you how to do that. Go through any notes the brokers put on it, the property information, which is kind of just going over some basics. It's been online for a little bit. Obviously, it's not sold, but it's giving you some details on it and showing you who the brokers are. Okay, once again, you see if these guys are in the marketplace doing a lot of work, then you know, oh, okay, well, they're market shakers, market movers, they're doing some deals, make note of that. You can view the OM. This is called an offering memo or an offering memorandum, right? Like a marketing package. What this looks like is this. You can submit LOIs here, view the flyer, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, map views. I just want to kind of show you how this works on the deal page. Okay, but click on the OM. It's probably going to make you sign a confidentiality agreement. So you want to have your free account set up so you can just sign it real quick, not a problem. And then it's going to load this, a PDF. You can download it, and it's your offering memorandum. It's going to give you details on the property, a marketing flyer that's typically, anywhere between 5 to 35 pages. It really depends. But it's kind of like the broker's pitch deck to say, hey, look at my property. This is a best case scenario. So it's your job to poke holes in it, analyze it, and make sure it makes sense. But it just kind of goes over details of the property, non-disclosure agreement, contents, executive summary on the property, where it's located, giving you some details, etc. We're going to kind of go through this real quick. So property overview. Here's the property overview page. Talks about the lot size, number of units, the address of the property, age of it, knowing that this is a 1953 property. It has been updated in 2015, but still a 1953 property. So my real question is going to be, have they updated plumbing and the electrical? We'll look at that. Hot water is electric and individual, central forced air systems, electric, no gas in there. These are kind of the basic stuff on due diligence that we'll talk about in next lessons. But important, copper plumbing, copper wiring. What you ideally do not want to see here is aluminum wiring and galvanized plumbing. This is the pipes for your water. So galvanized, not as good as copper, tends to break down more. Aluminum wiring is going to cause potential fire issues. It just heats up faster. So insurance companies look at it as a negative, not a positive, so it could boost your insurance costs. I've learned that lesson. Talks about the roof system, TPO. That's a good system, 20 years remaining on it. It's a brand new roof system, that's very important. You'd get into all this in your due diligence on the property, but it's an updated property. Not totally updated, but some. Just kind of going through some of the property photos, the parking lot. You can kind of see parking lot's in decent condition. It does look like it has some gated features on the property. Interior photos, nice wood flooring. They have some upgraded features in there. Obviously the cabinetry, holy cow, that's not new world cabinetry, but nice and upgraded. so that's good. Washer dryer connection, stackable, so that's nice. I don't know if that's on all the units, but definitely showing some of them. And then getting into the property, nice little decking systems in there, so it looks pretty sweet. Nice little location. I'll show you an aerial map. So I know Kansas City relatively well. So down here you're looking at, if I can pull this up, down here you're looking at the plaza, and then the property's located up over here near the university system and all that. And then you have Main Street and some of these streets. It's a great location, great location. That's key, right? And then you get into the financials. This is giving you the unit mix on the property. So we have 8 1-bedrooms, 2 2-bedrooms. They're giving you the unit mix, sizes, square footages, and all that stuff here. Okay, if I can tap on that, yeah, you got that. And then it's giving you the market rents. Okay, so we're going to plug this stuff into our analyzer. Okay, but that's the information there. And then they're giving you the financials. Okay, so with this, if I can actually pull that off, cool. With this, they're giving you the financials. So they're giving you, okay, this is current, this is future, right? So hey, here's today's rents and financials. Here's what it can look like in the future. It's a pretty upgraded property, so you're not going to move the needle too much on the rents. It's not a full value add deal, but nice property if this stuff actually holds true. So we're going to go through it. We'll plug this stuff in, and I'll show you how it works, okay? Pricing summary, blah, blah, blah. Interest rates, agency. Yeah, you're not going to get agency on this. Agency debt, that means when you're looking at some of these, let me kind of show you this so you understand it. Obviously, details on the property in terms of square footage for the lot, age of the property. This is kind of showing a debt analysis, meaning we're going to get a loan on the property for X. I'm going to show you how we do this. And here's your options. So if you go to the local commercial bank, which is likely where you're getting your loan on this thing, like 98% of the time, given it's a 10-unit deal, small loan value in terms of the loan amount, you're not going to get an agency loan. Agency doesn't start until you get like $1 million loan or more, usually. And then it may not even make sense to do that. We'll see. But likely a local commercial bank. So these numbers are the ones we're going to use to analyze this deal. Okay. Then they're going through demographics about the market, all of that. Cool. And that's the end of it. So that is your offering memo. So now I'm going to show you, you're going to take all that information and you're going to plug it into the deal analyzer. Okay. So this is the deal analyzer. So this is a little pro forma template. We have multiples. This one's ideally used for a 5-unit up to even a duplex, triplexes, perfect for it. That's where we started. Because I don't know if you know, we had started with a $100,000 condo in Murrieta, California in the midst of the financial crisis. And then from that condo, we went to duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. From there, we went to 5 to 10 unit deals, all with our own money. We were fortunate enough. And then we started raising capital going out of state. Our first place was Kansas City, Missouri, which is why I like it. Great market. 27 unit deal was our first out of state deal in Kansas City, which is why I know the deal so well and the area so well. We used this kind of template stuff until we got a little bit bigger. And then once you kind of get north of 50 unit deals, you're using a much more sophisticated analyzer that's breaking into all kinds of details. I don't want to overwhelm you. We're going to keep it nice and simple. Okay. So this one, you get in your downloads. You'd come in here, you'd put in your address, 1234 East Street. Okay. Boom. Everything in blue is editable. Okay. Everything in blue is editable, meaning you should plug the stuff in. So for this case, they don't give us a price. So I'm just putting in one there for now. For a down payment, you're probably going to need to bring in 30 to 35% down payment on any commercial deal today, given the interest rate environment we're in right now. 10 units, okay? And that's then going to hard code that to $120,000 a unit. You can actually take out this repair budget. I'm going to just put in there 50 grand. Maybe there's some improvements on the property you want to do. Just going to put that in there as a placeholder for now. 1953 building. Lot size is 24,394 square feet. They give that to us on this OM. So you're pulling all that data from the OM. A lot of these are hard-coded, so that's hard-coded, hard-coded. Closing costs, I'm going to use 3%. I'm just going to plug that in there for now. Typically, that's about right. It's going to be between 3 and 6%, depending on if you're adding in fees for acquisition fees, which is like a commission for you for putting the deal together, other kind of legal and closing costs, blah, blah, blah. But we'll use 3% for today. And then that's going to plug away the total equity requirement, okay, how much cash you need to bring into the deal. I'm going to show you how this works. So over here is our debt analysis, okay? So if we're putting 35% down, we're going to get a 65% loan. That loan amount is going to be $780,000 based upon the purchase price that I'm just putting up here for now, okay? So this will adjust based upon the purchase price. Interest rate, 6.5%. That's what I'm going to presume in today's marketplace, and it's going to then auto-populate for you your payment, right? This is principal and interest payment, monthly and yearly. Debt coverage ratio, I'll explain that in a minute. That means debt coverage ratio, DCR. That's how banks, this is when you hear DCR loans, DSCR loans, DCR, debt coverage ratios. That's what that means. Interest only, okay? That's your interest only payment. That's your principal and interest payment. Breaks it out for you. I'm going to show you how that comes to the bottom part, okay? So let's come down here. All right, awesome. So this is where we plug in our financial information. So as you can see, we have 8 ones, 2 bedrooms. I put in the rents that they gave us on the OM. So if I come back here, they're giving me the rents. See this? They're giving me the rents. So I'm going to plug those guys in with the unit mix into my prospectus. They're giving me the square footages on that as well. These are the future rents. These are the current rents. You can see on here. So current, future. Right? Today's rents versus pro forma. They use different terminology in the OM, but that's usually, it's either, existing rents, current rents, and market, or current and pro forma. They're using different terminology, but they'll usually show those on the OM, offering memo, okay? Then, on your deal analyzer, you're going to come over here to your expenses. And you're going to plug these numbers in. Where do you get these numbers? It's right here in your financials. They're giving them to you right here. Okay? So when I said year 1, they're giving you the financials. Now keep in mind, this is the broker's view of the property. Maybe not reality. It's your job to take this info, poke holes in it, make sure it's accurate. Okay, I can tell you right now their numbers are bullshit. Excuse my language, but it took me 10 seconds to figure that out, but I'm going to show you why. Okay? Hope you guys are having fun with this. This is down and dirty, right? This is tactical, very strategic. Not going to blow smoke up your you-know-what. You're getting the real deal here on how to analyze a deal properly. So you're going to go into the OM, you're going to pull these numbers away, and we're going to plug them into our deal analyzer real quick. So I came in here, I plugged it all in. Okay, based off of the numbers from that OM, I plugged in all these numbers as they are. Okay, as they are. Took them right from here. All these expense numbers, I took them all. All these expense numbers, I literally took them dollar for dollar, and I brought them right over into the deal analyzer. Just to start, I want to get the deal analyzer set, and then I'm going to start manipulating numbers based upon my knowledge of the marketplace, my knowledge of due diligence, my knowledge of rents, my knowledge of expenses. That's kind of where the nuance comes in. It comes over time. We teach this in our mentorships and all the other stuff we do, but I'm kind of showing you how, this is kind of I'm giving you a lot of free value here so you understand at least how to get started, how to do it, and then the real question is how do you really move the needle, okay? But you're going to plug and play here as is. So I can tell you right now that these numbers are full of crap, because there is no way on planet Earth that a 1953 building, even if it's upgraded, is going to be operating at these low of expense ratios, okay? It's just no way. No way. So I'm going to zoom up on this so you can understand. Okay. Put this baby front and center. There you go. Right there. Awesome. So I plug all these numbers in. Percentage of EGI. Let me show you what this means. EGI stands for effective gross income. You get your effective gross income, which it populates it over here. So this is auto-populated, a lot of it down here, okay? It's taking the current situation on the property and then the pro forma, meaning, hey, what can we do with it? What does it look like in the future? So gross income, and this is how you analyze any apartment deal. I don't care if it's a duplex, triplex, fourplex, 50plex, 900,000 plex, I don't care plex. Same process. Gross income, you're going to take out what they call economic loss. That includes vacancy, credit loss, concessions, bad debt, all of that, okay? In this case, we're just going to use percentages. Typically 5%. That's probably low for this marketplace. We're going to adjust some things here in a moment. Other income. Other income can be trash income, pet income, utility reimbursements. Typically in today's marketplace, tenants are coming in and reimbursing for utilities on the property. Water, sewer, some electrical gas, depending on how the deal's set up, they're going to reimburse for that, okay? So other income comes in with that. Maybe you have parking income. You have tech income, a tech fee income, because maybe you're providing, keyless entry locks and systems and all those other things you can do. All kinds of things. Then you're going to get to this number. Remember I said EGI, effective gross income, also known as operating income. So when you come up here to the expenses and you see 27% to 32%, no. A property like this is going to operate somewhere between 40 to 50%, maybe 55% expense ratio. This age of property all day long, okay? So they're smoking some good juju. So we're going to make verification of all these numbers. But this is the difference between, you're not going to know this stuff without walking through and having, I can teach you, other people can teach you, but this takes time. It takes nuance, learning it, mentee, mentorship, all this stuff to really understand how to look at this. But we do this. I had one of our mentees the other day, because we help our mentees underwrite every deal as they're going through it. Like, they'll send it over to us just like this. We'll say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, look at this, don't look at this. We're walking them through, hand-holding through the process. It's extremely valuable, and that's why we do it. So they can actually move the needle for themselves and really understand. You're taking 15, 20 years of experience of looking at deals and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals. I can see things based on the markets and based on the deal instantaneously. It's like anything you're doing as an expert. It's going to take time, but you need to learn how to look at things and how to analyze deals properly. But that's, you're going to be plugged in there. So I know that this is crap. And this is crap, which means it affects how much I'm going to pay for the property. Because, guys, if you're running at that kind of expense ratio and you got this income coming in, right, based on these numbers, then I got a net operating income right of here and then here, okay? Guys, that returns some crazy returns, because these numbers are populated down here for you, okay? These are some metrics, right? Cash on cash, average, cap rates, equity multiple, IRR. And we get into this in our programs and mentorships and all that. I'm not going to dive into the details on how those work. But no. It just does. 48% IRR, yeah, right. Anyhow, so it's cute, very cute, what the broker's doing, but we're going to get to reality here in just a moment. Now, it depends on what you're paying for the property. I don't know what their price expectation is. Typically, this is what you want to do. If it doesn't have a price on it, email the broker and say, hey, so-and-so name, what's the whisper price? What is the price expectation? What is the whisper price on this deal? Which means, what is the seller and the brokers hoping and praying for, right? They'll give you, hey, we're thinking somewhere around here. They'll give you a whisper price, is what they call it. Okay, so you want to ask for that. But nonetheless, there is no way, let me run this number real quick. That does that, divided by 10 units. That does that, divided by 10 units. Okay, so you're at $600 a unit. That needs to be at least $750 a unit. That's $650. We're going to do $4,500. Let's do $3,000 here. We're going to move the needle a little bit here. So that's $750 per unit. What I did on that, just so you know, is the formula up here. Okay, all I did is I took that number divided by 10 units to find out the per unit. Okay, and I know based on my history, experience, and knowledge in this marketplace, we should be running around $450 a unit for repairs, give or take, maybe $500, and at least $300 a unit for turnover. Turnover means when you make the unit ready, if a tenant moves out, you got to turn it over, get it ready for the next tenant. You're going to have some expenses along with that. You have to account for them in your expense breakdown. Yeah, it just seems super low. Management fee is fine, 6%. Reserves, that needs to be about 3,500. 3,500. Property taxes, I'm going to go with their numbers here. Insurance seems low. It's probably about 7,000 realistically. Yeah, I'm curious on this other income because that's really boosting up the EGI. I would want to dive into this number that they're showing me here because to get to my effective gross income right here, okay, I'm taking my gross less my vacancy and credit loss, and realistically this needs to be closer to like 8%. I know what they're saying, but that's just not realistic. 8% for that Midwest market because you're going to have at least 5 to 6% vacancy. You're going to have some bad debt concessions, loss to lease. Realistically, it's probably closer to 10% off of the gross, but we'll leave it at 8. I don't know how they're getting these numbers. I'd want some detail. I'm going to see if it actually has it in their OM. Because they got other income in here. Let me read it here. Other income includes standardized fees for submarket, including designated parking fees. Yeah, we'd want to dive into that number. I don't know where they're getting that, but that's, you know, a decent chunk of change for some other income. We just need the details on that. Because if this is accurate, that means they're getting it today, right? So we want to break down to that other income to get to this EGI number. Because with that in mind, you're still operating in the 30s, which is very surprising. So I can guarantee if that number's there, this price, they probably want, $1.5 million. Okay. 150,000 a unit, which seems really high for that market. But that's going to bring your return numbers in line, right, of what I would expect for that marketplace. Okay. Because there's another tab on this spreadsheet, okay, just so you know. That's odd. Yes. That shouldn't be summing that up. That's square feet per unit. Okay. But I can show you how this formula should work. It should be an average square footage and stuff in there, so we can tweak that. Anyhow. Sorry, getting off tangent here. But anyhow, your number over here, you got 10 units. Sorry, a little tougher to see this. All this is doing on this sheet when it says IRR is it's taking, you know, what would be a normal 1-year deal. Okay? Let's call it, in this case, 2023. So it's taking your numbers, and now we're going to add time to it, right? 2024, 25, 26, 27, depending on when you're looking at this. It's going to add time to it, and then based on that, we're going to have cash flows. We have a sale and exit of the property, and that's how we get to the IRR, right, which is the velocity rate of the return on the money, IRR. And we go into that in detail, obviously, on all the coursework and all that stuff. When you get into other programs, we go into all of that detail and the mentorships and everything. But for the sake of this, IRR is the internal rate of return. It's the velocity, annual velocity rate of return of the money, okay? But you get to that by adding time to it, and then you take out, you have your cash in, cash out. So this is where you're going with It breaks it all down, gives it all to you, and then in this case you have your initial cash outlay, all the positive cash flow you're receiving during the deal, then you sell the property at X and you get all that profit. So you take all the cash flows plus the profit and you put it all together here and you get an annualized rate of return of 31%, which is amazing if that's the truth. So, which is why I'm questioning these numbers, because it just seems out of whack. Typically on a deal like this, anything north of 20% would be a killer deal. Anything in the high teens would be a pretty killer deal. So that's why these numbers don't align. So we really want to start looking at the assumptions and stuff we're putting in here. And price selling cost needs to be 6%. And I'd be using a cap rate realistically in this marketplace right now, 5.5. So come out here at 5.5. Rent bumps, probably 3%. And we get into all the details on all this stuff in other courses and stuff. I don't have time to go through it in grave detail here. Given that this is just a fast-paced introductory setup, I wanted to show you how you would plug and play with our little pro forma model and then put it in to get some numbers and everything popping out. But everything in blue is editable. Everything in black is hard-coded. Okay. And if you're scared of Excel, we tried to make this super simple. So that's why we only had 2 tabs, right? 2 tabs. You got this one that's plug and play. Okay. It's all plug and play. Everything in blue, plug and play. Everything in black is hard-coded. It's going to pop out some numbers for you. And really what you're looking for is, let me kind of give you some metrics to go by. So let's go ahead and zone in here. So, presuming these numbers are accurate over here on the expenses, presuming these rent numbers are accurate, okay, and presuming, let's say that they would accept $1.5 million, maybe it's $1.4 million, maybe, I don't know what the number is, but if it's $1.5 million, I'm going to show you what those numbers are going to look like. It's $1.5 million, and so I know this thing's getting long-winded, but it's important. This is a hefty section, but let's presume we're paying $1.5 million for this. We're putting 35% down. We got $50,000 in a repair, maintenance, upgrade, improvement budget, and so we got a total of $620,000 we're bringing into the deal. And we're going to use the interest rate on our loan of 6.5%, 65% loan amount, right? So you get a loan amount of $975. Here's your payments over here, and that's all going to come down to the bottom portion here. So we plug in all our numbers. That's going to populate this stuff down here, okay? So current, future, it's giving us a total cash flow here. Although, let's see, NOI. Oh, because the expense ratios, that's why it's higher. So that's fine. We'll leave that for now. So 35% expense ratio, totally fine. These numbers are kind of in line now, right? So cash on cash numbers, cap rates, looks good. Equity multiples, definitely in line with the market. So what you're going to want to see, typically what you're going to see in a deal like this, in this location, in this market, somewhere between 6 to 8% cash on cash, okay, which we got it. Equity multiples probably in the 1.8 to 2.5, maybe 2.6 range. What that means is if I give you $100,000, how many times do I get that money back? So if I give you $100,000, what am I getting back? In this case, if I give you $100,000, I'm getting $265,000 back. 2.65 multiple. $100,000, $265 back. Okay? And what is your IRR? In this case, 25% annual rate of return. That's pretty much in line with the marketplace. That would not be outrageous. So based on these numbers and what I'm seeing, you can pay $1.5 million for this property, presuming we got to verify a lot of these numbers because it still seems out of whack. I'm just letting you know, it still seems out of whack. So I want to verify expenses. I want to verify rents. Most importantly, I want to understand this other income number. How are they driving that? Where is that coming? I want to see the detail on that. Make sure that's not fluff. But if that's all there, and presuming they would accept $1.5 million, this deal makes some sense. Okay, this deal makes some sense. A little 10-unit deal in Kansas City, Missouri. I like it. Great market. So that is how you would typically analyze a deal. Okay. So that is section 2, analyzing the deal. We found them. Now we've analyzed them. Now, the most important fun, let's raise some money, baby. That's in the next one. Take care. See you soon.